Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 127 of Hawk Blogger Mornings. I am Brian Nemhauser. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Hawk Blogger. And man, it happened, folks. We had the first padded practice of the Mike McDonald era, and there is a lot to go over. I'm going to try to breeze through it. I've got a sick kiddo at home. I literally went to sleep at 5 a.m. this morning. Rough night, early practice this morning, and just got back. So may have to bolt out of here, may have to, pause my camera to help him out if necessary. But I appreciate all your patience, all your support as we get as much Seahawks content out to you as possible. Let's jump right in. This was a practice where the defense had what looked to me to be their strongest performance of the season, of the training camp to date. And I wouldn't quite say dominant, but it was pretty darn close. It was in that realm. The offense, which had been pretty close to it was just highly efficient, at least the first few days of camp, struggled. First team didn't matter. First team, second team. In fact, I would say Sam Howell and the second team offense seemed to actually play better relative to their competition than Geno Smith and the first string offense. And that has not been the case so far in camp. So pretty big turn of events. And I think that's good news because, look, this is the first padded practice. If what the Seahawks had was one side of the ball just dominating the whole way through, wouldn't be great. Like, as much as I have to admit, when you're watching the practice and you're seeing the problems for the offense, the tendency is to be like, oh man, this is ugly. But the reality is it was like Mozart. It was a symphony the first few days. And that means that the defense was not necessarily doing as well as you want. And today, the first string defense was on it. They were they clearly brought the energy. They were looking forward to hitting people. They were looking forward to playing against the offense and kind of just making a statement. And I thought they did that today. I really did. I thought you can go all through the list of defenders, but I think the secondary deserves the most credit. There were not open players in a lot of this practice. Tariq Woolen, DK Metcalf, they got into it. There was a lot of physical play. DK Metcalf took exception to Tariq Woolen after one play. He grabbed his face mask. They were jawing back and forth. Nothing like crazy happened, but it got heated. And to Woolen's credit, he didn't back down, and he had one of his best practices, if not his best practice. He blanketed DK for most of the day. He gave Geno like no place to go with the ball to DK. And at one point, DK was running a post, like, probably 10, 15 yards down the field, cutting towards the far pylon. And he was open based off of the defender who was on him at that point. I don't remember if that was Woolen. I'm not sure it was, but it doesn't really matter. Geno thought he saw him coming into the window where he expected him, delivered the ball on time. But what Geno didn't see was Julian Love playing a little robber underneath, and he snuck back. He was anticipating Geno where he was going. He snuck back right into where Geno is throwing the ball to an open DK Metcalf who wasn't open. And Julian Love got his second interception. And it was a beaut. And this is part of why I believe Leslie Frazier is so excited about Julian Love. This is part of why I think Mike McDonald is excited about Julian Love. This is part of why they signed him to this deal. He is making cerebral, athletic plays out there, and he is intentionally creating spaces that he knows the quarterback is going to want to deliver the ball and getting there to make the play. So, Geno Stone made himself a lot of money playing for Mike McDonald last year. We'll see if he can continue to do that in his new location, but I don't think Geno Stone's a better player than Julian Love. Geno Stone, I think, led the NFL in interceptions last year or was close to it. Julian Love, he might be a guy, like they might, and we might all look at that and be like, that was a good deal. Because he played well. Devin Witherspoon played really well. He was all over the place. He wasn't making plays on the ball because his guy wasn't open and the ball wasn't coming toward him. I think they avoid throwing at Devin Witherspoon. I really do. And he was hyping guys up. He was talking from the sidelines. Every time the defense made a play, you just hear like a primal scream out of Devin Witherspoon. Like they were super hyped. So team drills, generally speaking, defense really came today. And again, I want to preface a lot of this because you're going to hear national stories come out. I'll talk about more of that in a second, but it wasn't a pretty day for the offense. It also was raining today, which raining July 29th. It hasn't rained for months. It's been beautiful. First padded practice, it rains. So that's a little bit of a factor, but you're going to hear, maybe the offense doesn't look as good. Maybe Grubb's going to struggle. You're going to hear all that stuff. I don't buy it for a second. What happened today was that Mike McDonald and his defense took a step forward. And if you don't think that the defense that we've watched for the past few years need to have some practices where they win in order for us to have any confidence that this defense can be reasonably okay, let alone good, you're kidding yourself. Like there have to be days like today. There have to be. And I talked about it with Boye Mafe after practice. I said, like, how important is it for you on defense to have these days where you guys can gain some confidence? And he acknowledged it's important. Like they need to see the success. They need to be able to believe that all this work that they're doing to learn this new scheme, to, coordinate with each other, to learn their new teammates, learn the new coaches, that's worth it, that there's a reward at the end of that effort. And so today was one of those moments where they're going to be able to look at that film. They're going to be able to look at each other and they're going to be able to say, yeah, okay, like we're on to something. So good stuff there. I'll go into some more details. I've got so many notes and I'm going to write them up later today, but assuming I could stay awake long enough to do it. But before I get into more, please take a moment, give this show a like and click subscribe. Trying to give you guys as much great content as possible. I would really appreciate if you just took a second to click the like button and subscribe to the channel. It's growing and growing and growing. You also are definitely going to want to click the bell to get notified when I go live because it's going to be all over the place. Practice schedules change, interview schedules change, all that stuff. If you click the bell, you will get notified when I go live. Also, really quickly, I think if you are not a YouTube member, it's the time to join, especially if you want to join as a suite level member. All of the interviews I'm doing, the player interviews, other interviews, are only available to suite level YouTube members for a period of time before I make them available to public. So it is one of the perks of being a suite level YouTube member. And so my interview with Charles Cross is up there already. And if you are a suite level YouTube member, you're going to get first dibs on that. You can watch that immediately. If you're not a suite level member, consider upgrading and joining. I put an interview with Albert Breer up there as well today. Great conversation with him ahead of practice. That's going to be available for others later. I think it might actually just be tolling to where it's available for the public. But again, suite level members get access to that as soon as I post it. I also posted that for Patreon members. So patreon.com/hawkblogger. They also got access to that interview. So lots of good stuff out there. Now's the time to join. Absolutely. All right. So let me talk to you for a second. I'm going to jump all over the place because my notes are all over the place. I've been looking forward to this practice, guys, for a while because you just don't know. The coaches say it, the players say it. You don't really know what you got until you get in pads. And I wanted to see the number one thing I wanted to see was 1v1s. What are 1v1s if you don't know? These are blocking drills where offensive players go one-on-one versus defensive players. And historically, I have found that to have one of the highest efficacy rates of any drill, of any part of practice that I ever watch over the years. It's when I was able to tell people, you know what? I think George Fant's a better pass protector than our first round pick, Jermaine Ifedi. It was where I was able to tell people that oh my gosh, and what was his name? Doesn't matter. Anyway, it's an important drill. That's the point. And one of the things today that was kind of cool is that they had two different sets of 1v1s. Usually I'm focused on the offensive line versus the defensive line. Earlier on in practice, they had blitz pickup 1v1. So running backs against linebackers, primarily linebackers. I think there might have been some safeties, but primarily linebackers. And one of the things I did not play from the Ryan Grubb interview that I played some sound from, the audio from Softy's interview with Ryan Grubb, which, by the way, people wanted the link to the video, to the podcast. I put it in there, so it's in the description of the video. You can watch the whole or listen to the whole interview with Ryan Grubb. I highly, highly recommend it. But one of the things Ryan Grubb said that I didn't play was that they are working with Kenneth Walker on improving as much as possible as a blitz protector, someone who can do blitz pickup. The reason is because Ryan Grubb wants to be able to play Kenneth Walker on third downs more than he's played in the past, because he believes he can end up being a wonderful release valve. You can imagine the situation where Geno is looking downfield, does not see his receivers downfield, and wants to dump the ball down. It's a big difference when you're dumping the ball down to a guy as elusive as Kenneth Walker. You can imagine that the defense is going to be very aggressive in getting the quarterback, and that they're going to be covering downfield. That can leave those big open spaces. And so Kenneth Walker being able to be better as a blitz protector is a big deal. And from what I watched today, he looked pretty good. I think he looked pretty good. I'm kind of looking through my notes here just to see. I didn't actually get in time to be able to write down. I think I actually might have some video. In fact, let me see, because you know what, guys? Why not? We can do whatever we want here. Let's have some fun. Let me see if I've got video of that drill. I think I do. I do. Yes. Hold on. Let me send some videos. This is a Kenneth Walker one. I'm gonna try to see if I can find one with Kenneth Walker. Oh, here's one. Here's Kenneth Walker rep. Sweets. I'm gonna move this and a couple others to my Mac so I can share these with you guys. My goodness. Evan and Josh and Jeff, they need to be quiet. They're making too much noise on my feed. All right, let me upload a couple of these things and we will take a look at them together. All right. So you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. We're going to open a video here of some of these guys doing pass blocking. All right. There. Couldn't quite see who he was going against. That looks Tyrell Dodson, number 0. So, like, you just see Kenneth right there squaring up. Bowen is back, doing a nice job. Let's get another one on here. We're going to go kind of in order. This is George Halani. You can see there a little bit more trouble getting around the edge. This is, I think that's Tyrese Knight going against him. So 47 is Tyrese Knight. Tyrese Knight looks pretty good in these drills, by the way, as someone who might be a talented blitzer. Let's go again. What's the next one I got here for you? Hopefully you guys like this. I mean, figured you might want to get a little bit of view into it. Okay, this is Kobe Lewis. I want to stop here for a second. 44 here is Kobe Lewis. And I got to tell you, he's caught my eye already in the first few practices. He's just a strong dude. He's built to be, I think I told you on one of the shows, like Gus Edwards, kind of just like blocky, dense guy. And I wanted to see him in pads, and he looked pretty damn good in pads, and he had a good day today. I think he might be ahead of George Halani. And George Halani's not looking bad, but I have a feeling Kobe Lewis might be a guy that when we get into preseason games, people are going to be talking about. I think he might be good. I think he might be a guy that is above Kenny McIntosh. Not saying for sure, but he's a physical dude. And let's watch this rep from him here. Not a great rush, and just kind of like didn't make his job that hard. Let's watch it full speed. That was 48. 48 is oh, that's Tyrese Knight. That was Tyrese Knight. Sorry, guys. 47 is Sundiata Anderson. That doesn't seem right. Sonny was practicing with the defensive line, but maybe. Who knows? All right. I think I've got a couple more videos here I can share. So that's 3. Let's do this one. That was Halani going against O'Connell. Let's go all the way back to the beginning here. That was a nice move by O'Connell, right? Look at him just get around. So Halani's having a little trouble in this drill. Watch, I mean, he's square there. Watch this swim from like just boom, knocks Halani, gets around him. Nice move there by O'Connell. Didn't know he had that in his game, so that was kind of cool to see. I think I got a couple more. This one's Halani again. For whatever reason, I have every video of Halani. Oh, I think maybe this was before that rep. So do not worry about that one. I got one more to share with you guys. Let's see this one. All right. This is Zach Charbonnet, who was very solid in pass pro blitz pickup last year. Let's see who he's going against. Is that 59? This might be John Radigan. Yeah, I think that's who it is. So see a good job there by Charbonnet. Charbonnet is strong. He's like built for this kind of thing. I have some other videos. If you guys want, I think I have some other videos. Let me see some of these reps. But closing on that, point being that they're working hard on Kenneth Walker being able to be a better pass protector and be able to get in there on third downs a little bit more. Yeah, you guys want to see the big boys? You want to see the big boys on the blocking sled? Let's show you a little bit of that in action. Here we go. Got to transfer this over. All right. Let me share these. All right. Here is this first one. Let's start this over so you can see who's. Let me orient you guys real quick. So 95 is Miles Adams. 94 right there is Mike Morris. 77 is Matt Gotel. 91 is Byron Murphy. I think 49 is Josh Oniagu. Got Boye Mafe at 53. Leonard Williams, 99. So we'll just watch these guys. There's 97. There's Aikens. Daryl Taylor coming in there. And then I think it might be DeVere Livingston is the last guy potentially. You got to feel a little bit for some of the power in some of those guys in those videos. Let me remove some of these. Hold on. Remove. I think I got to remove some to get to the others. Okay, I think this is the other one. There's Nelson Caesar, 46. Rewind that. You see him, 46 right here. You guys can see it. Like, not the most interesting video. I think I've got one more that is worth sharing. Let me see if this is the right one. Think where they're going. Yeah, that's Mike Morris going with Matt Gotel and DeVere Livingston. So you can kind of see Matt Gotel. I think Matt Gotel's having a nice camp. I think Cameron Young is in trouble. I think Cameron Young's in trouble, to be totally honest. He's obviously not back yet, not off the injured list. He's supposed to be back maybe this week, maybe next week, but he's got a lot of ground to make up. So all that was me talking about 1v1s, right? So watched the running backs, fine. Blitz pickup, fine. But the main event is when the big boys are going against each other. And there was a lot to learn today. I wanted to see Christian Haynes. I wanted to see Charles Cross. I wanted to see Lincoln Tomlinson. I wanted to see Olu. I wanted to see Byron Murphy. I'll tell you, one of the most shocking moments in this practice, something I have literally never seen before, and the reporters that were around me had never seen it either. Byron Murphy's first rep against Anthony Bradford. Byron Murphy gets off. Bradford gets a hold of him fast, grabs him, I think essentially by the back of, I think Murphy was trying to spin. Bradford grabbed him by the horse collar, which, you know, is illegal on offensive players, but I don't know if it's illegal on defense. And he threw Byron Murphy to the ground, and Byron Murphy's thudded, like his head snapped into the ground. Everyone's like, whoa. It was like, that does not happen in these drills. It was a show of force by Anthony Bradford. I think he was delivering a message to the rookie. And Byron Murphy came back against some more inferior competition. As I'm looking, I have this all listed here. Let's see. Who did he? Yeah. So Murphy throws him down. Here we go. So Murphy did have like a number of good reps as well. A couple where he just got right into the backfield or like beat the guy. He did face a Bradford a second time later on in 1v1s, and Bradford was trying, like, it was a better matchup. Bradford was trying again to throw Murphy to the ground. Like, he was trying to make a point. Wasn't able to do it the second time, but they were going at it. So that was good to see to some extent that Bradford's got a little bit of, you know, fight in him that way. there was I'm trying to look at my notes. Sorry, guys, because I'm doing this live. Where was the one I was looking for? Okay, Murphy blew up in 68. 68. Oh, I don't think I even have him on here. I think he's one of the new guys. So he had one great play there. There was a number of standout reps by our left tackle, Charles Cross. Charles Cross against the way they were doing these 1v1s is in past years, they'd usually, I mean, I guess I can't remember for sure, but this time they were doing 2 in a row. So let's say it was Chenna versus Charles Cross. They'd go the first time and then they'd reset and they do it a second time. So it was back-to-back reps, the same 2 players. Okay. And Chenna went the first time, it got nowhere. Chenna went the second time, got nowhere. And this was the first time all camp where I could say, okay, I can kind of see what people are saying when they're like, Charles Cross is special because his feet, his movement was special. He moved differently than any of the other offensive linemen. He really did. He looked very solid, had a very good day in 1v1s. The other guy that jumped out for me was Mike Jarrell. Mike's a guy that I talked to one of my first interviews of this rookie class. Great guy, obviously rooting for him. I'd heard Ray Roberts, I've talked to him. He wasn't as high on Jarrell, thought he was maybe a little stiff. I thought he looked really good today, like really good. And I wouldn't be surprised if he starts rising up the ranks as well. McClendon Curtis looked really good today at right tackle. He had some nice moments. I'm just double checking 66 McClendon Curtis. But those 2 guys, Jarrell, both him and Curtis at right tackle, both had some really nice reps. As far as as Christian Haynes, who you probably haven't heard that much about, not the starter right now at right guard. I thought he was okay. He showed some of the nastiness that is his reputation in these drills. If you remember at the Senior Bowl, he got into it with one guy who ripped his helmet off and threw it on the ground. So he's getting under people's skin. There's one rep that looked like that where Christian Haynes was pretty nasty and finishing. Generally, he's okay. Like that's my general, like it's not dominating. I'm not like, oh, this guy's a monster. He's not being overpowered to where it's like, this guy's a disaster. He's just kind of in the middle right now. So I'm not seeing things so far that have me believe that he is going to overtake Anthony Bradford as of right now. Part of that is I think Anthony Bradford hid the strength. Like Anthony Bradford has a very clear attribute that he brings to the table, which is he is a monster. He is a big physical guy. Christian Haynes is not as big. And what Christian Haynes brings, I think, is a little bit more targeting on the move. I think he can block out in space much better than Anthony Bradford. Maybe that will prove to be more important down the road. But right now, I think they want people that can move defenders. And I think Anthony Bradford is demonstrating more of an ability to do that. Not a closed book, but I just would like to give you guys kind of where I see things right now. There was a rep for Derek Hall, who's, I think Derek Hall is getting a little overhyped. He's had a good camp. I don't know like where it's taken off that he's having a great camp. He's having a good camp. He's doing well. I'm optimistic. He's not like he's the second coming of Lawrence Taylor or anything out there, but he had a rep against, does it show? Do I have it in my notes? Yes. Yes. So he had a rep against Stone Forsyth where he just bowled him back 5 steps like that. I mean, the power that he demonstrated, the speed to power was legit. And that's a tool. Like it's a legitimate NFL tool that he's working with. And so again, I think that he's got something that a coach should be able to utilize. And so I do feel like I'm not worried about Derek Hall being a bust. After year 1, you could say he looked like it could be a bust. I don't think he's bust material. I think it's a matter of how much he's going to unlock this year, but I think he's going to be a significantly more valuable and impactful player than he was a year ago. I don't have any doubts about that right now, you know. Only 4 days or 5 days into training camp, whatever it is, but that's my read. Sorry, I have a lot of numbers written down just for speed, and so I have to look up a couple guys to make sure. Olu didn't seem to get that many reps, at least not that I saw. I saw one, I thought, and seemed okay, but I didn't get a lot of view of Olu. I thought that Garrett Greenfield had some good moments in the 1v1s. The left tackle, the undrafted free agent. This is the guy, if you don't remember, set the NFL combine record for highest vertical jump by a offensive lineman with 38-inch vertical leap at over 300 pounds. So he's obviously an athlete. And you could hear the offensive line. I don't know if it was Huff or Nugent, but one of the coaches before a rep saying like, narrow feet. And you just saw him. I think they're working on him being able to anchor and hold his position. And I thought he did a pretty good job. Nelson Caesar, who has had a good camp, had some good reps. Sonny Anderson, who I think is behind Nelson Caesar, but he had one like impressive spin move rep that got everyone kind of oohing and awing. Let's see. Who else? Oh, Daryl Taylor. Daryl Taylor had his first rep against McClendon Curtis, and Curtis absolutely won. Next rep, Daryl Taylor moved him up the high side and then spun like a top inside right to the quarterback. I mean, it was a very impressive athletic play, and he had a good rep as well. So there was some good back and forth. My general takeaway was, okay, Charles Cross, okay, like I see you, and that was good to see. Mike Jarrell was a surprise to see that I thought he stood out to me. He was quite good. And then, Anthony Bradford showing some, I think a little distance between him and Christian Haynes. That's my current read of it. Those are the things that stood out. Defensively, I thought that for the most part, Leonard Williams had a few good reps. Jaron Reed had some decent reps. Someone asked about Laken Tomlinson. Laken Tomlinson did fine. He wasn't like amazing. He held up against Leonard Williams on one of his bull rushes. Jaron Reed beat Anthony Bradford pretty easily on one. So there's like some back and forth. Generally speaking, I thought that the offensive line did a little better than the defensive line in that drill, which is not the worst thing. Not the worst thing. So that was 1v1s. I will tell you, I'm just checking a couple things here. I was watching Haynes during some of the team drills, and he did well. I mean, Mike Morris was on one play where he was, going up, and I thought Christian Haynes locked him up pretty well. There's another play where there was a blitz that Haynes picked up nicely, did well. There was a play where there was a lot more running today. Obviously, when you have pads on for the first time, you're going to want to see the running game as much as possible because it's hard to even judge without pads on. Early on, T-Dot Tyrell Dodson absolutely stuck Kenneth Walker in the hole. Really good read. He was super excited about it. There were plays where Kenneth Walker was getting to creases on the outside. Kobe Lewis was getting to creases on the outside. I think there was a little harder for the offense to make progress on the interior, which is a good thing for the Seahawks. You want that to be for the defense, at least. There was a play where Byron Murphy just enveloped Zach Charbonnet in the backfield. Quick beat. Robert Mays was standing next to me from The Athletic. We were chatting, and he's like, whoa, that guy's fast. That's a quick move. And it's true. I mean, Byron Murphy has that. He had a decent day today, had some good stuff like that in team drills. There was a play where Uchenna Nwosu absolutely embarrassed Anthony Bradford, got in the backfield, swallowed up K9 for a loss. So, these were the kinds of things that were happening where the defense was winning quite a bit to the point where there was a little bit of a break, and one of the offensive line coaches just screamed to the offensive line, "Let's start being ourselves." He's just like, he was sick of it. So the other, I think, highlights of today, the thing you'll hear a lot about, and it deservingly so, as tough as it was for the offense to move the ball against the defense today, Jake Bobo had a full extension diving catch vertically, like in parallel with the sideline into the end zone for a touchdown. Must have been 30, 40 yards, and thrown beautifully by Sam Howell. Like, put it in a place that his receiver could go get it, and Bobo went and got it. It was a absolute gorgeous play. One of the prettiest catches you're going to see in training camp, period. Tyler Lockett said it was one of the best he'd seen. It was a great, great play by Jake Bobo. I thought Kayvon Wallace had a really good practice today. People won't talk about it. They talk about it, everyone else. I like Kayvon Wallace. He had some blitzes where he was getting home. He was in some places making plays on the ball. I thought he played quite well. Important note. All right, everybody listen. Okay, everybody listen. Reek Woolen made a physical quality tackle in the run game. It happened. I saw it. Other people saw it. It's real. It was great to see. It wasn't like any super big highlight, but it was a very legitimate physical tackle from Tariq Woolen. Derek Hall had a moment where he was able to bull rush Charles Cross to the point where he kind of put Cross up into Gino's lap, which was a nice play by him. So yeah, I think that's kind of the top notes here for me in this practice. I'll kind of go through them again. Top note, defense won the day. Tyler Lockett talked about it afterwards. He acknowledged it. Defense got them today. First string defense in particular. There were the defense really was excited. They were together, the camaraderie, you could see it starting to build, the swagger starting to build. And that was really, really good to see. Devin Witherspoon, he was just hyped the whole time. Tyrell Dodson, T-Dot, Leonard Williams was hyped at times. So, and then Kayvon Wallace is just permanently chattering. I really like the guy. So that's the main story. The other part I'd say is offensive line did okay. Ultimately, offensive line did okay. I don't think it was a great showing. I thought Charles Cross had some really impressive moments, and I think that's a really big deal. Again, I will plug the interview I just did with him. It's posted now for suite level YouTube members, and it will be available for other people later. And then, where we are with Byron Murphy and Christian Haynes is they still look like rookies right now. They're not dominating. And I think that's an okay thing. I would have liked them to be so good that they were undeniable. I'm not seeing that yet. I'm not worried, but if you're expecting Aaron Donald from Byron Murphy, I don't think that's what his rookie season is going to look like. I don't want anyone to be disappointed. I think he's going to be very impactful and very good. I don't think he's going to be Aaron Donald, at least off the cuff. But he is a very, very good defensive lineman. He makes plays every practice. He's been making more plays of late. He might be picking up some steam. But he's not such a problem that the offensive line can't handle him. And there's other guys on this defensive line that are quite good as well. I think Mike Jarrell is a highlight, is a takeaway from this practice. He stood out to me. I think Kobe Lewis is a takeaway from the practice. The running back, 44. Keep an eye out for this guy. His build, I really like his build as a back. I'm really looking forward to seeing him against another team. And then the other piece was Tariq Woolen had a great day. He really got the better of DK Metcalf for the first time that I've seen, and that's notable for sure. Beware, every single national media guy was there today. Ian Rappaport was there. Burt Breer, who obviously I just posted an interview with, was there. Robert Mays from The Athletic was there. Jeremy Fowler from ESPN was there. Even Ronnie Lott was there. So all those guys that were coming from national media that came on the one rainy day, so annoying, the one rainy day in Seattle. So that'll be talked about. 2, the one day where the offense was not doing that well. And Geno wasn't able to complete a lot of, there was not open players and he was scrambling around. What you're going to hear most likely from the national guys is Mike McDonald's got this defense looking good. The offense looks like a work in progress. My guess. I didn't talk to those guys after practice because we all had our own interviews to run off to, but that's what I would guess they're going to say. And don't believe it. The offense I'm very happy with what I've seen from the offense. I am really looking forward to seeing what happens next, because Grubb got McDonald the first few days. McDonald got Grubb today, and I think the last time I saw him was on Friday. Now are we going to see Grubb adjust? Are we going to see some different things in there that cause this to be a back and forth? That's what I hope to see. But if I had to choose one, I think I would choose that the defense becomes really hard to play against. If that can happen, I'm confident enough in the offensive talent and the coaching that they'll figure something out and that they'll be better for it. But if the offense is just constantly dominating the defense, I think that's going to spell a bigger issue come the regular season. We'll see. All right, folks. That is it for the 127th straight day of fresh live content from me. And if you didn't see, I put up on my Twitter feed an article I wrote about kind of the career change going on for me. People seem to be enjoying it. So check out my Twitter feed at Hawk Blogger if you'd like to read that. I will write up my practice notes at some point today. Can't tell you for sure when, but keep an eye out. Please give the show a like, click subscribe if you haven't already. We want to keep growing the channel. And You know, I am contemplating covering away games, not all of them, but some of them. All this is coming out of my pocket, so I've got to be thoughtful about it. But the more people we have join as YouTube members that watch the show, period, that become Patreon members, the more I can start thinking about budgeting for travel and giving you guys more coverage on the road, which, by the way, I think can produce some interesting things. I'm hoping to maybe do the Patriots game the second week of the season. We'll see how that goes, but appreciate all the support along the way, and trying to make it tangible for you, where your support of the show can lead to more content and better quality coverage. So, all right, folks, that is it. I'm Brian Nemhauser. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Hawk Blogger. This has been episode 127 of Hawk Blogger Mornings. Take care, everybody.